Hey Rick, happy
Hey,
Friday.
Carlos. Happy
Welcome to
Friday.
another episode of CC Labs. And look, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I don't know about you, but I hope our audience is enjoying our little rants around content, SEO, news, and everything in between. So today we have another interesting episode. So we're going to talk about the fiasco with the Sports Illustrated fake authors and articles with AI, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the ethics of AI. And then there was a very interesting podcast episode with some of the Google people, and they talk about site quality and how to think about traffic and metrics. And last but not least, we will talk about subject matter experts, which is something very important when you're creating content that you want to do you want it for you want it to rank and also to create great engagement and when you're creating your money your life topic. So full packed episode as always. But why don't we start talking about Sports Illustrated? So, Rick, I don't know if you follow the news, but somebody discovered or somebody caught Sports Illustrated publishing some AI generated articles, and not only that, but also using fake authors, so made up authors. So they would
AI
make
generated authors.
yeah, pretty much. So they would come up and create um, a fake bio, and also go and get a picture of a person that was created by AI. So they would just win the full 9 yards in all this. So there was a big debacle. They now blamed it on their partner or some content partner or some ad partner that they had. But I don't know. What a big debacle. What's your take on that, Rick?
Well, Carlos, it sounds like they need a new content partner, right? That
I don't
is
know.
absolutely ridiculous. And anybody who's listened to us in past episodes knows that we are proponents of using AI in content production when it's used properly. Right, it is a powerful tool that can help you create better content, but we all know there's going to be a million companies out there who are going to try every shortcut possible, whether it's to save time or to save costs, to cut corners, produce content that's fully AI generated and not reviewed. But I gotta be honest with you, I didn't see the AI author coming. I can't imagine why.
I don't know. I
It's
think
Sports Illustrated. They got a house full of writers. Pick one, put a name on it.
yeah, and you know what? A lot of these big publishing names, some of them are falling out of favor, right? Like remember what CNET did and Bankrate did earlier when all these AI craze started, and a lot of them have pedaled back. And my take on that is, look, there is no free lunch. There's no there's no silver bullet. There's nothing like ranking, creating traffic, creating an audience. It takes work and creates real and takes real effort, right? Even Google says like you have to put effort in the stuff that you make. So I don't see a lot of effort creating fake authors and creating fake articles. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a slap in the face to journalists and to
Good.
creators, right? So I don't know. I hope things kind of normalize. AI has its place, and I think it's great, and it's been a great tool for content marketers like us. But it has to be used responsibly, right? And this is it's just deceiving. So we can now segue into the ethics of AI, right? Like our friends over iPull Rank, they published an article about the ethics of AI. Pretty interesting article. We'll put the link with the newsletter. And I think where is the line between using AI in a responsible way, and where's the line where you start kind of, there is an ethical boundary that you start kind of breaking, right? Like whether it's plagiarizing IP, whether it's making your audience believe that you create something that you didn't. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think we're going to have to let the courts decide on the IP situation. But for me, it's all about the end result. And I think my thoughts on this are aligned with Google's thoughts. And are you using it, if you're using it in your content production, Are you still putting value out there for your audience? Are you delivering what they're looking for? Is it accurate? Is it not misleading? And if you check those boxes, then I don't think there's any major ethical concerns outside of data security, things. But just looking at the content itself, is it a human author first? Did you review it? Did you make sure it's accurate? And if you're checking those boxes, you should be fine. Put value out there. Doesn't matter how you
Yeah,
get to
but
the end goal.
the other way I see is that you cannot claim something that you have not done. For instance, if you are writing about tourism, right, or you have a travel blog, then you get AI to write an article about traveling to Costa Rica, but you've never been to Costa Rica. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
This isn't a new dilemma, though, Carlos. The human writers have been misrepresenting content for years,
True,
right?
true.
It's one thing to write about a topic, and it is another to fabricate your experience with it, whether you're AI or human.
Yeah, the same with reviews, right? Like reviewing products, fabricating your
Exactly.
experience with the product, and now, of course, well, you can blame it on AI and say, well, AI created and AI reviewed the product. But yeah, you're totally right. It doesn't have anything to do with AI. It's just I think AI is just making it easier for people to fabricate stuff, right? So I
Certainly.
think is you cannot claim something that you haven't done or something that you don't have experience with or something you don't know about, right? So I think that's just deceitful. And whether it's with AI or even with human writers, you shouldn't be doing that.
So, how do you get? I think this is a good segue into one of the topics you wanted to discuss. How can you get that experience into your content, if not allowing your AI or your writer to fabricate experience and expertise?
You can always, and people that has followed me, that have seen me in conferences or in podcasts or things like that, I always talk about borrowing experience. If you don't have it, and it's okay for you not to have it. So, for instance, a journalist can speak about a topic, but they go and get knowledge or from the source, right? So you can borrow that expertise, and then there's several ways. So, subject matter experts, you can always bring a subject matter expert under your or to your content creation process. Get them to give you guidance. Get them to give you insights. Then you take those insights and make a great piece of content with it, right? Because sometimes these subject matter experts are not creators. They're not writers. They're doctors or they're lawyers or their expertise is not in writing, but their expertise is in the particular field. But they can help you, giving you insights, giving you a quote, giving you a fact checking your content, right? So I think is so important to use these SMEs properly if you want to elevate your content and you want to create something that is helpful and that is accurate, especially when you're talking about your money, your life topics. Rick, you did an amazing job in our company to create a process to leverage subject matter experts. So why don't you tell us a little bit more on how we use subject matter experts and how we work with clients and
Yeah,
how
well,
some of our
I'm
success,
glad
but
you
how
asked
successful
because
we do it. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm glad you asked because it's been a few years, and I think we were one of the first providers to really put an SME product out there for our clients. But here's the thing: we got it wrong. We tried to address how do we keep high quality content and get that SME expert insight in. So we rolled out SME review, which meant, we put our really talented writers on the article. They get it all together, goes to the SME. The SME does a fact check. Then it goes to an editor to kind of mix, whatever the SME said in with that quality writing. So we don't let the SME touch it. Well, I think what we have found is that if you don't get that SME involved early in the process, you miss out on so much. So what we're doing now is having a lot of our SMEs participate in the brief process. So they're getting involved there. They're taking the outline and saying, in this section, be sure to talk about this, or here's how I'd handle that. And that insight gets to the writer. And now we can really get the experience and the expertise, that firsthand knowledge into the article with high quality writing. Then the SME comes around again in the back end to do that review. But we found that in doing it just on the back end, we were getting mostly fact check and not that expertise and insight. So moving them to the front and sandwiching the writer, SME up front with the brief, writer, SME to review it, provide that feedback, then off to the editor is a great way to get it done.
That's awesome. And I think we have done it successfully, bringing doctors. I think financial advisors,
Lawyers.
Lawyers. I think we also brought veterinarians. But we have brought many different SMEs, even in digital marketing, insurance, and it works like a charm, and it's very effective, right? Because again, one of the myths that are out there that needs to be broken is that SMEs can write, and people come to us and say, "I need an expert writer about medicine." And well, you know what? Doctors aren't writers, and they didn't go to school to write articles. And if they want to write an article, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. So I think it's that pair of great SME with a great writer, which is very, very powerful. So for people there that are interested in learning more about SMEs, just reach out. Happy to help you think through this, or you can just follow any of our blogs or webinars. We have talked plenty about this. Okay, so let's now talk about Google and the podcast where I think it was Mueller and a couple other characters from Google, but they were talking about site quality. So what was your main insight from that conversation?
There were two parts of the conversation that I found interesting and insightful. The first one is nothing new. Okay, he talked about, I'll paraphrase here, but alignment between your target, the keyword you're targeting, the audience you're targeting, along with the topic you're presenting. Right? Everybody knows intent. But you'd be surprised, Carla, how often people miss the mark. As an example, if I were to search how to cook a steak on a propane grill, you could probably guess I'm looking for a how-to, right? And if I go to Google and search that, I'm going to get lots of articles on methods and techniques to get the perfect steak on a propane grill. If I write an article that's an affiliate listicle with the top 10 grills, for cooking a steak, I'm not going to do well with it. Not only am I missing what Google or other search engines have already deemed as this is the intent for, steak on propane grill, but if I manage to attract some of that audience to my article, I'm not giving them what they want. So it's a double miss. It's really important, even if you're not using fancy tools, before you target a keyword, search it. You can see right in the results that consistency between all of the blue links. They're generally going to be all the same type of article, whether that's tool listicles or how-tos. There'll be a consistency there. Every once in a while, you'll see a disparity. You'll see a little conflict where maybe Google's not 100% on intent yet, and you'll see a little bit of mix between content types that address the query. But for the most part, they've got it figured out, and you need to stay aligned with that intent when you're producing content. The second thing in that conversation that I really liked was, I think John Mueller called it, don't feed Google what it already has 9,000 of. I think there's a 900 of 9,000 of. It's hard to find subject matter that isn't already out there and already out there hundreds of times. So he was talking about how do you break in if you're a new business, or maybe you're just way behind on your content marketing and you're looking to break in and make improvements. How do you do that when every topic has already been covered and you've got John Mueller himself saying, don't give us what we already got. So I got 3 tips for you here. Go ahead.
So I think what he's saying is be forward looking, not back. So because many SEOs, they go look at the SERP and they do SERP analysis, and they do exactly the same that everybody else is doing. So they're pretty much just regurgitating what everybody else is doing. So I think what we need to think about is about forward looking. What can I add to what is already out there, and not just try to mimic what everybody else is doing, right? But cut you off. You have 3 tips. So what are your 3 tips?
Well, I'll go to number 2 first because it ties into what you just said. When I create content briefs, I include a SERP analysis. What are the commonalities between the top ranking articles? But it's not so that our writers can regurgitate. It's so that we can then include another brief component called differentiation opportunities. How can we make our piece different than what's already out there? What did they miss? Where can we get insights or experience in that those top ranking articles don't have? So that would be tip 2, is make it different. Get your expertise in there. Get your firsthand knowledge. If you have a better way of doing a thing or explaining a thing, do it. Do it in the content rather than just copying what everybody else did. One other way, and this is the one I was going to present first because it's the least effective method, but it's the easy one to say, is that do it better. Right? Everybody's been trying to do it better for years now. Like, I like when we get clients who come to us and said, okay, I want the best content on the internet. I want this to be the best article. It's like, okay, let me pull out the how to get the best article brief and
pull out the bestifier.
It's do it better is so. What is that, right?
Yeah.
But every once in a while, there is an opportunity. You'll see the top ranking articles are poor. Either they're poorly written or they're glossing over the subject matter. They're outdated, whatever the case may be. So if that opportunity presents itself, take advantage. Doing it better could actually help you rank. And then the last one, this is my favorite. And this is a phrase you've heard me say several times ever since you had me read that audiobook. I can't remember the name of it, but riches in the niches, right?
Riches are in the niches. Yeah, 100 million
riches
offers
in the
by
niches. Yes. So go niche. And I'll give an example, right? There's no shortage of articles out there about how to create a content brief. And I'm not saying you shouldn't write one. You probably should if that's what your audience is looking for. But support it with or go niche with how to create content briefs for the healthcare industry, how to create content briefs for digital marketing content, how to describe your audience persona in a content brief. Get very granular and look at each component because they're really, really important. And there isn't enough content out there that really gets down into the nitty gritty and talks about those individual components or looks at the content briefs per industry. And maybe that's where your opportunity is. So look at ways to go niche and break in there.
So riches are in the niches, SERP analysis, but to use it like differentiation opportunities, and also, create better content.
Right.
Pull out your bestifier 3000 and then create better content. But no, on the point of making better content, I think there are opportunities when you look at, okay, can I create, can I use more examples? Can I use more graphics? Can I maybe throw in a video in this piece of content to make it easier, make a better experience for the reader? I think maybe there are opportunities in creating better content, but it's a very vague, right? What do you mean by better? So, but I think there's still opportunities because there's still a lot of content out there that is not that great, where people can come in with a better angle. So that is very helpful, right? So now, last but not least, let's talk about what they were saying around the excessive focus on traffic numbers and how people should think about traffic as a KPI.
Right. I'm pretty sure he was really addressing the general public of businesses that produce content here and work with SEOs. And they're often just peppered with, look what I've done for your traffic. And they're using that as the benchmark for are my campaigns successful? Is what I'm publishing successful? I've increased site traffic 200% in 6 months, which is fantastic. But what did that do for your bottom line? Has your conversion rate stayed steady? Are you looking at that? Are you getting the individual behaviors on your pages that you're looking for? Because not every page is a conversion page, right? So what is that traffic doing? Isolated, in a vacuum, increased traffic is meaningless. If that traffic isn't what you need, if that's not your audience. And these are things we see on our own site, right, Carlos? We see great traffic numbers, but we want to look deeper. Are these the people we want to attract? Are they landing on the right place? And are they taking the behaviors we're hoping that they'll take when they get there? So you've got to look at individual KPIs, individual metrics, depending on where, I mean, we all have our content marketing blueprints, right? And this is where we lay out our content marketing strategy, our funnel. It's all our top of the funnel content, our mid funnel, our conversion content, all these different things designed to do different things, each kind of connecting and nurturing that visitor through a journey. But in doing that, each one is supposed to, try to prod the reader into a new action. Some are in your face, buy it. Others are a little more subtle. Here's a case study, sign up for this newsletter. Depending on what part of the blueprint this is, where in the journey this content lies, it's going to have a different behavior tied to it. That behavior is what you need to measure. All of them. You might have 15 different metrics that you're measuring throughout your blueprint, throughout your content marketing plan. And that's where success is, not just traffic. You can make 10 times the traffic. If they're landing on tofu content and bouncing right off, it's meaningless. So measure the behaviors. I'm sorry, I'm getting long-winded. Take it.
No, what I was gonna say is that it's very is sometimes might be a vanity metric like likes, right? But you got to measure. So most of us are in this business because we want to create more business, meaning we're creating content because we want more engagement, we want more leads. So in our business, what we measure leads coming through the door. Somebody will raise their hand and say, "Hey, I want to know more about your product," and then when leads go back or go up or down, we measure, okay, where is the problem? Is it in an engagement? Is it the conversion? Is the click-through rate? Is the traffic? Traffic can be a leading indicator and can be, one of those. It doesn't mean that you don't have to measure it, but cannot be your only measurement, right? You need to pick measurements that are tied to your business goals, right? And traffic is not necessarily tied to your business goals every time. So I've seen many sites where most of the traffic come from a page that has nothing to do with their business and generates zero revenue or zero business. So anyway, look at other metrics when you are looking at your efforts in content marketing. You're looking at your inbound marketing efforts. So I think many people knows this, but it's a good reminder of that. And I think with that, we'll leave you for today. Thanks for listening again, and until next time.
Thanks, Carlos, and have a great weekend, everyone.